Welcome back to our channel. As promised, we keep bringing you key opinion leaders, CEOs, CMOs, CFOs, head of development. It doesn't matter. These are the people who actually shape our ecosystem. They push crypto forward. They push all of us forward. And that's what we're doing right here live from Paris Blockchain Week 2025. Right next to me, Mauricio, Midnight. We're gonna jump in, talk to him, get an update, find out what they're doing, how are they building, and like he said, we continue to build.
Continue to build, that's the plan.
Always. Introduce yourself, my friend.
So, my name is Mauricio Magaldi, I'm a Brazilian, I live in London. I've been in crypto for about 10 years, doing all sorts of stuff. I joined Midnight about 2 years ago, when we really turned it from a research project into a product or an actual protocol. And I've been with the team building nonstop since then. Since I joined, we launched a DevNet, which was a little bit of a private alpha. Okay. We then opened this to the public. In October last year, we brought the testnet live to the audience, and we keep iterating with the team and iterating with the developers in the community to bring new features until we are ready to launch Mainnet later in the year.
Okay. So, if I hear you right, innovating, building, growing.
Absolutely.
Obviously, whenever you put those three things in the same sentence, the next word is challenges.
Yes.
What have you overcome in the last 6 months?
So I think the bigger learning for us is developer experience. Like, we're doubling down on developer experience because, as you just said, the developers are the people who build this industry, and we're very much enamored that because we launched the DevNet early on the development life cycle, we got a lot of feedback. We added partners to the network, and we get feedback from them, which helps me narrow down the scope and narrow down on the roadmap. So that for us is very important. Yeah. I mean, we understand when people say, oh, another blockchain, Mauricio, do we really need another blockchain? Well, the answer is, well, if you're bringing something really new to market, which is the case of Midnight with data privacy, programmable privacy, if you will, yes. But then how do we win on a market that is super busy with so many announcements? Well, you go to the people building and you cater to their needs. And that's what we're trying to do with Midnight as well.
Okay. Now, as you keep moving forward, hurdles came, you got past them. The next 3 to 6 months, based on how the market is reacting to everything going on around the world, how do you position yourself to be in a position to keep building and keep delivering to the people?
So we're very fortunate because Midnight is a project out of IOG, the house that built Cardano. Yep. So we are a partner chain to Cardano. So we're part of that bigger ecosystem.
I sat down this morning with the CEO of the Cardano Foundation.
Sweet. Amazing
conversation.
We're a partner chain of Cardano, so that's obviously a very privileged place to be because there is a sort of a incomparable advantage of being part of that ecosystem that is already there, right? So huge history, super resilient chain. We're being bootstrapped out of Cardano as a partner chain. For us, this is very much a privilege. And that's also what allows us to keep building no matter the market conditions, right? So we keep building. And just to answer directly to your question, next 3 to 6 months looks more like ramping up towards Mainnet, so features being added, system being hardened, abused by the testnet users, and obviously there is the talks of a glacier drop. Charles spoke at the event yesterday. Yes. We'll be dropping the Midnight tokens across what we estimate to be potentially 37 million claimants, so that's a big one. 8 ecosystems will receive grants or drops for the token, so which is, for us, is a way for us to, in Charles's words, to kind of overcome tribalisms, right? That's the entire purpose of this. And then later in the year, Mainnet launches, and then we're off to the races, which for us in product allows us to just keep building, right? The work isn't done when we launch. The work begins, when we do. So that's where.
For you to keep building, you need to remain relevant. How do you deal with that aspect, remaining relevant in the market?
Oh, great question. So the way we're positioning Midnight as a programmable privacy chain is very unique, right? It protects data and metadata, given the architecture which we chose to build on and how the tokenomics work. And I think that's the relevance comes into resolving and solutioning for real problems. So if you have a lot of Bitcoin, you don't want people to see your address and how much you have traded or received, right? So it's a problem for us that, yes, transparency is important, but being able to choose when and what to be transparent is also important. And that's where we play. And this speaks to not only individuals like us that want to remain free from, you know, the limitations of, you know, access to commerce or to expression or, you know, of association even. Yeah. And I think that is where Midnight plays the strongest. So that speaks to us as individuals, but also businesses have public and private sides, right? You don't know everything that goes behind doors on any. And if you want to bring the world on chain, we have to give them what we call programmable privacy or selective disclosure. You have to have the ability to decide when to show your cards, you know, and to whom. So that's where Midnight plays the best.
Now, if I ask you this, what would you respond to those who say that transparency, complete and total transparency, will lead to mass adoption, and blockchains like Midnight stand in the way of that? How would you respond to that?
If you allow me, I'll respond this as, you know, with another question. Okay. Has it?
That's a good point. Now, if I say, yes, it has, because we have not reached mass adoption yet. And based on that, it might be Midnight that's stopping that. Well, that makes sense.
We're not live yet, so I don't get to carry that blame. But conceptually, again, if we are to bring the world on chain, right? I heard this the other day, tokenize everything, and then someone said, well, not everything that can be tokenized should be tokenized.
Exactly, and that's where I'm trying to get.
I'm absolutely playing on that spectrum. The fact that Midnight allows for programmable privacy means you can be fully private or fully public. So how does something that gives you an option to progress is standing in the way of progress?
Okay, that's a very good answer.
So the goal here is to enable that, also that freedom. How much do you want to offer the world about yourself? And remember, we're entering this era of AI. We spent the last 30 years giving away data in exchange for services, right? We did. We thought it was free. We were told this was free.
We were lied to.
So we're finding out it isn't, because now all our data is being used to train AI models that we don't own, and none of that data is being, you know, rewarded to us.
And
right?
It's not to my benefit.
So is there a way to claw it back from the past? Maybe not. But if we have programmable privacy on the internet from now on, then we kind of reduce that potential. And if we are to open the data to anybody else, well, then now I can decide whether I want to be rewarded for that or not. So
now, what would be your sales pitch for Midnight? If you were told, hey, you got 10 seconds to convince me to, hey, become part of this, what would you say?
This will sound a little bit gloomy, but because I think privacy is a human right in the digital era, I don't want to live in a world where Midnight doesn't exist.
Privacy is a human right. I could not have said that better myself. And I'm very happy we got to sit down with you, Mauricio.
Thank you.
So you know what to do. Share, like this video, spread it around your community. Midnight is on its way. And we do not want to live in a world where Midnight does not exist. These are sound bites that we're going to keep replaying and replaying for the next few weeks. Live right here from Paris Blockchain Week 2025. Thank you very much for giving us the time, and thank you very much for sitting with us and bringing this knowledge to all of our readers and all of our viewers.
Thanks so much.
See you all soon.